Welcome to Azure Data Factory Real-Time Scenarios, Scenario number 9. Copy data from a blob storage to Azure SQL database. So today we are going to discuss how to copy the data from a blob storage to Azure SQL database. Let me show the scenario. So my file is one of the file is there in blob storage. So I need to copy into the sink. Here the sink is Azure database. So what I am using here, I am using the Azure Data Factory. So under the Azure Data Factory, I am using a linked service from Blob Storage to a data set, and one more linked service from a data set to and Azure database, and a copy activity and a pipeline. So to run all these things, we require a pipeline. So let me show. So this is things. Okay, under the pipeline, we are going to do these two activities. The first one is get metadata activity. So here the get metadata activity informs us to that whether the file exists or not. If the file exists, then it informs to copy data to perform its action. Otherwise, it fail itself. So that is the use of get metadata activity. So without get data meta activity also we can do it, but let me show the real-time scenario. So let me show the file, which file I required. So let me go to my folder, and this is my file emp Hyderabad. So the emp Hyderabad is a file which I am going to store in my Azure Blob Storage. So the file is, the first name is row is a header. So EID, so employee ID, employee name, and salary. So EID, name, and salary, and have certain data inside. So I'm going to insert this data into my blob storage. From blob storage to I need to transfer or inject into the SQL database. So this is my file. So let me go to my portal. So this is Azure Portal, so which I already connected inside. So what are the things we required? So let me go through here once. So we required a source, and we require destination. So here the source is my Azure Blob Storage, and here destination is my Azure database. So let me create first these two, then one by one after data Azure, and one more is Azure Data Factory. Under the Azure Data Factory, two linked services, two data sets, and a copy activity. So all these things we require. So we'll perform one after one. So let me go to Azure Portal and create a source. So my source is blob storage. That's the reason. Let me go to blob storage and create a blob storage. So click on create, and subscription, you need to select the subscription and the resource group. So already have the resource group, that's the reason. So already saying that, but otherwise you can create new if you want also. Next you need to give the your storage account name. So I need to give the storage Azure Blob Storage 25. So this is my blob storage which I'm going to use now, and let me choose the region also. So let me choose my nearest region. My nearest region is Central India, and let me go for redundancy, local redundancy. So it will be reduce the cost and will get faster information, and review and create. So validation has passed, so we need to click on create. So it will take a moment, so we need to wait. So the deployment is in progress, so it will take sometimes. Meanwhile we'll go to, so we have completed sync. So but we need to perform certain operations. So one is we need to create a file. So still in deployment, so we need to wait for a few seconds. So your deployment is complete, so go to resource. So this is my blob storage. So inside the blob storage, I need to create a container to keep my file. So click on container, click on container, and here give the name of container. My name of the container is input, input, and it's okay, create. So my container is successfully created. Now this is my input, is my container. I need to upload some data. I need to upload some data. So there's a click on upload and select the file, and I need to upload this file. Which file? EMP Hyderabad. So just click on OK, and I need a folder actually. So that's the reason I'm keeping here employee folder, EMP folder, and now come down and click on OK, upload. So my file is so upload completed for EMP Hyderabad txt. So let me go and check it once. So see, my file is available. Where it is available? So let me go through it once. So under the storage accounts, and my storage is Azure Blob Storage 25. So this is my storage. Open it, and a container. Under the container we have input, and the folder is employee. So this is my file. So I need to inject this file into Azure database. So that's the reason. So now we are finished with source. Now we need to do certain things in sync also. So let me first, we need to create a Azure database. So let me go and search here Azure database. Data. Otherwise SQL database. So this is my database which I'm going to use. So now you have to click on create database, and under the database the same thing, the subscription, and you have to choose your resource group, and you have to give your database name, Azure MySQL database. So this is my database name. So Azure MySQL database name, and we need to choose the server also. So we need to create a server, because already have a server. That's the reason it is asking me to. Oh, sorry. Let's click on back. Let me delete my server. So I have a server. So let me delete. And we have to type yes. Okay. Now you have to create and click new, and we have to give the my SQL, my Azure SQL database. So this is my database name, and I'm choosing the new create one, and I need to give the data server name also as SQL database server. So my Azure SQL database server. So it is checking the name whether it is available or not available. So that name is available. So let me choose the region. My region is nearest is for me India, Central India. And here you need to the server name. Okay, server admin name you should give. So whatever the name you require, you can give it. So I'm giving some name, and we choose some password. So I'm giving the password here, and you need to confirm password. So I have done everything, and I'm choosing the local redundancy. So if you see here, so my Azure SQL database is my database name. My Azure database server is my server name. So these are the two important things to remember. So now review and create. So now create. So it is taking submitting. Deployment is in progress. So we need to wait 1 or 2 minutes to finish it. The deployment should finish. So we need to wait for a moment to finish it. Still our deployment is in progress because it need to create two things. One is a server and one is database. That's the reason it's taking time to finish it. So still it is under deployment. Please hold on. So if you know how to create this, like what we can say, Azure Data Factory and all those things, you can skip for the moment and you can proceed. So now we have completed. Go to resource. So under the resource, the most important thing is set firewall, set server firewall. Then only we can able to communicate. Otherwise, we are getting failed. So this is the reason. Click on set firewall and come down and firewall rules, and you have to click on add your client IP address. So you need to click on IP address. Then next one is exceptions. So here you have to pick it. So allow Azure service and a resource to access the server. So if you not do any one of this, you are unable to connect with your server. So click on save. So I have completed. So let me go back to my, so this is server, SQL database server. So this is my database. Under the database, so there will be a word query editor. So you have to click on the query editor and you have to log in with your username and password which you recently created. And see, you can do whatever the, so it is like a simple SQL statement. So I don't have any data here. That's the reason. Let me create a table. So create a table EMP and EID. So employee ID EID. So it should be int and ename. So it I'm getting as varchar and 50, and I'm taking salary and which is money. Run. So my table has been created. So let me come here. So I have done with my source and I have done with my destination. Now let's move on to Azure Data Factory. Now come to our portal and click on Data Factory. So search here Data Factories. So they will get here Data Factories. I already have a Data Factory, but let me create one more Data Factory. So resource group, I'm using the same resource group, and here we should give the data factory name. So Azure data factory ADF. So let's check the name. So already the name is taken. So ADF 19 is also, yeah, is okay. So this is my Azure Data Factory, and you need to choose the region. If you don't want, then you can be default. And here Git. Next one is Git. So I'm not going to configure anything. So I'm just configuring later. So review and create. So validation has passed. So we need to click on create. So the deployment is in progress. So we need to wait for few seconds until deployment is completed. So deployment is complete. Now go to resource, or you can go directly home and data factories. Just to refresh it once. So this is my the latest one. So it is my data factory, and you need to open Azure Data Factory Studio. You have to click on that. Then we'll come to new tab. So here we have the four. First one is home. The second one is author. Third one is monitor, and next one is manage. So come to my. So I have completed the source and sync and have created data factory. Inside the data factory, I need to finish certain operations. The first one is linked service. The linked service from source to and a source data set. So my source is here what blob storage. So I need to create a blob linked service one, and the destination is Azure database. So I need to create a linked service for Azure database and two destinations. The dataset destination, one is for source destination, another is sync destination for dataset, and a copy activity, then finally pipeline. So we can perform this in different ways. So the different people perform in different ways. So let me go in one of the way. So just go to your manage. Under the manage, you will see the linked service. The first linked service you required is blob. So search for blob storage and give here the name. So just let me give the proper naming convention. I'm giving it LS. So LS means linked service. So select the subscription, storage account. So this is my storage on Azure Blob Storage 2 file. So my file is there in this account, and check the test the connection once. So connection is successful. Now press on create, and we need to create one more, and that is Azure database. Azure database. Let me check. Azure SQL database. So we have to go, and here I'm giving yes LS. LS means no, next. Sorry. Next we have to check the subscription. This is my subscription, and the server name is this is my server name. So let me go and check it once. What's my server name? So SQL database. So this is my server name. My Azure SQL database. This is my database. And if you open it, we'll come to know the server also. So this is my server name. See, my Azure. This is my server name. My Azure SQL database server. So this is server name. So this is my database server name, and this is my database. Next, SQL authentication, and let me give the username, and let me give the password. So click next. You have to test the connection. So my connection was successful. Now click on create. So I have completed my linked service. Both the linked service has completed. Now let me create two data sets. One data set for source and one more data set for sync. My source data set is blob storage, and my sync data set is Azure data base. So go to Azure Data Factory and go to Author tab. So the pen tab is Author tab and click on Data Sets. So first one is New Data Set, and my first data set is Blob Storage. Click on Blob Storage. I know that my file is delimited, so click on Delimited, and you have to give the naming as Data Set Source Blob Storage. Storage. You can give the naming convention as according to you. Next one is linked service. So this is my linked service, and I need to take the file emp, and this is my file which I am going to create. I know that header, so click on OK. So I have completed one data set. So I need to create sync data set. Sync is nothing but here destination. So I need to create one more data set for destination. My destination is SQL database. So choose the SQL database and give the name data set sync. This is my sync SQL database. So this is my database and is loading the table. If you and just select the table here. Otherwise, we can take from other also. So click on OK. So I have completed both the come to here ones. So I completed link to services and two data sets. Now let me create a pipeline. So inside the pipeline, so I need to create two things. One is get metadata and copy activity. So let me go to portal, and next we need to create a new pipeline. So give the pipeline name. So pipeline PL pipeline inject blob storage to SQL database. So this is pipeline name. So first one is I'm going to get whether I'm going to check whether the file is available or not in blob storage. That's the reason I'm taking here get metadata. So get file metadata and give the. So let me check the timeout also. Actually, it is taking for 7 days. I don't want 7 days. I want check with only 30 seconds. So 30 seconds. So within the 13 seconds, the file should be available. Otherwise, it's just the timed out. Next settings, and so we need to create one more data set for this metadata. Okay. So it's a blob storage. My file is blob storage, and I click on continue, delimited file, and so this data set is only for get file metadata. Okay, ds get metadata, and the linker service the same linker service we are using, and the file we are using. The next finish. I know the header. Okay. Now let me run it once. File list. So see, the file list is compulsory. So where it is the file list? So here field list is compulsory. So click on field list. So whether I want to check whether my file is available or not. So that is the reason that is called my field list is file exists or not. If the file exists, then informs to us to perform. Next debug. So the debug has started, and see, it was the status is successful. Now click on here this symbol output, and it's saying that file exists true. If the file exists, then informs to us to perform. So let me take a copy activity. And give the connection copy emp data. Next go for sync. My sync is where is my file is blob storage. So this is my ds blob storage sync, and I need to find out Sync is nothing but destination. My destination is ds sync database. This is my database, and here table option is already we are created. That's the reason I created none. If you are not created already table, then you need to create auto create table. So I have completed all the things. Let me go and validate it once. So pipeline has been validated. Now debug. See, the get metadata file is available. Now this the copy data, so it is in progress. So it is also successful. So in Azure Data Factory, it is saying that success. We can say that from Blob Storage to Azure Data Factory. So the file has, the process is successful. And how many files we read? Only EMP Hyderabad. So only one file. And rows copied is total 14 rows. The same thing, written is also 14 rows. And here the bytes, what is the size? So everything it will give the information. Now let me go back to my Azure portal under the query editor and just sign in. Just select. Now let me check whether this really happened or not. From EMP, click on run. See, so my file has successfully copied. So this is, and how can we see whether the file is happened or not, or credited or not, created or not? So how can we see in Azure Data Factory and in SQL Server? So this is my SQL Server. So this is, I need to copy here database name. So we can check through our Microsoft SQL Server So this, from this also we can check it. Studio. So let me go back and to the overview. Let me copy my server name. So the server name is most important. So go to Microsoft SQL Management Studio, and here the server name. This is my server name, authentication, and my username is different. And let me give my password and connect. So see, my Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio also have connected. So let me go to new query. So we need to choose your database. So my database, this is my database, my Azure SQL database. This is my database, and you need to select here, select star from EMP, and just click on execute. See the same data. So total 14 records are successfully copied. So thank you.